That's cool. You know Moshe Weiss?
Okay, Rabbi say, let's learn.
It's common. Talk after.
Okay, we're in the middle of learning about Simcha. We turn the page to Kuf Daled, the third line from the top. We discussed the fact that the true simcha comes from the sense that I'm the luckiest person in the world because I work for the King of the world, and there's no job that's a greater honor and more impactful than that job, and that itself fills me with simcha. V'David shekvar higia el hamayla hazois shir gadol. David reached this madrega to a great extent. Omar, he said, Ye'erav olav sichi anoichi esmach b'Hashem. My talking is sweet to him, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I rejoice from Hashem. V'omer, the pasuk says, Vaiter, another pasuk in Tehillim, V'avoya el mizbach Elokim, and I enter the mizbeach, meaning serving Hashem, El kel simchas gili, to the power, to the Hashem, that's the source of my simcha, the source of my joy. V'oidcha b'chinar, and I will thank you with instruments, with the kinar, Elokim Elokai. V'omar tiranino sefosai ki azamra loch, my lips will sing because I am making songs to you. The nafshi asher padisa, and my nefesh that you redeemed. The hainu, and this means ki kol kach hoisa misgaberes bikirbai hasimcha, that the simcha was so strong inside of him. Shekvar hasfosayim hayu misnanois me'elim. Look at this. It's unbelievable. Look at this pasuk. Tiranino sefosai. My lips will be meranein. Now, I will be meranein. I will use my lips, but I'm the one that's meranein. Meranein means to sing out of joy. Your lips sing. When it's time to sit by a kum, you say, okay, everyone, let's tell our mouths to sing. Is that what you do? Or you just sing? What does it mean, your lips? What does that mean? So he says he was so overwhelmed with joy from the realization that he gets to serve Hashem, that like his lips started moving on their own. It was just like bursting out of him. He says, Ki kol kachoisam is gaberes bikirbai hasimcha. The simcha was so overpowering in him. Shekvar hasfosayim hayu misnanois me'aleim. His lips were moving on their own, umerananois, and singing, when he sat down to be involved in praising Hashem. All of this is from his tremendous, like the lebedikite, the fire that he felt, that his nefesh was just on fire with simcha. You know, it's interesting that we use another lashon. It's a little bit parenthetical, but I think it's worth mentioning that you talk about your lips another time. You know that during davening, there's a time that you speak about your lips. Hashem sefasai tiftach. Hashem, open my lips. Ufi yageti lasecha, and my mouth will speak your praise. What kind of a tefillah is that? Hashem, open my lips and my mouth will speak your... What are you asking Hashem to do exactly? Like, what are you asking him to do? Hashem, open my lips and my mouth... Why don't you just say my lips will speak your praise? Or why don't you say, open my mouth and it will speak your praise? Why do you say, open my lips? Mishal, it's a good kasha. What? Open my lips and my mouth will speak your praise. What do you have? You have two separate things? You have lips and a mouth as two separate things? But Kills didn't say this. Unless he said it in my name.
Maybe you said it. I'll tell you, I heard it.
The pshat is like this. The Farshim say this is based on a gra. The Farshim say that a mouth has a covering. The covering of the mouth is the lips. That's the external of the mouth. And the truth is that it represents a certain covering that we have on our hearts. Because the truth is that our hearts, when we look at these lashonos of a person just going nuts with joy, just exploding with joy, sometimes we're like, yeah, I'm not accessing that. I'm not feeling that. But the truth is you are. It's inside the neshama of every yid. But there's a covering. There's an orlas alev. There's a covering that doesn't allow us sometimes to truly feel the dveikus that's inside of us. And we are held back. If we were able to listen to the deepest part of our neshama, we'll be singing and dancing in there. We'll be so happy just to be serving Hashem. But it's covered over, probably not with one cover, probably with hundreds of covers. Every time we do an Aveira, it gets covered. Every time we're distracted, it's covered. It's very covered. So just like the lips cover the mouth, a person's neshama is also covered. If that was uncovered, what would happen? The praises of Hashem would spill out of us. That's what would happen. So I want to say this. That's what we say by davening. Hashem, Sefasai Tiftach, open my lips. Get rid of all the outside things that are chaytzets between me and you. And you know what will happen if you do that, Hashem? My mouth will start talking your praises. I won't even need to think about it. It'll be automatic because that's what's inside of me. That's what I'm really made of. Okay? That's what's there. Take a container of milk and stab a hole in it. What comes out? Milk comes out. You know why? Because there's milk in there. And if you could open up the heart of a Jew, you know what comes out? Praises to Hashem. That's what comes out. You know why? Because that's what's in there. It gets covered over. So Hashem, Sefasai Tiftach, just similar to this idea of Tiranan and Sefsaisai, open my lips and my mouth will speak your praises. And that's how we start Shemini Esrei, trying to focus on the fact that we're already poised, we're already set to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, let's see a few more minutes here. Humasha siyem v'nafshi asher padisa. This is what he was Messiah, and my nefesh that you redeemed. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu redeemed us and filled us with His Ava and His Simcha. And here's the part that's very, very, very interesting. It's a very interesting story about this next piece of Mesilas Yesharim. Umatzinu, and we find Shenisra'im HaKadosh Baruch Hu al Yisrael, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a complaint on Klal Yisrael. Mipnei shechosru t'nai zeh ba'avoidasam, because they were missing joy. They didn't have joy in their avodah. Hu shenemar, that's what it says in the Teichacha, not this week's parsha, but next week's parsha, that the Teichacha, all of the punishments will come. Tachas asher lo yovadto as Hashem Elokecha b'simcha u'v'tuv levav. Hashem will bring punishments because you didn't serve Hashem with joy and with a good heart. Tzvi, you comfortable with that? HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a complaint on Klal Yisrael if we don't serve Him happily. And the Teichacha will come. The Teichacha. It's horrible stuff, okay? There's horrible stuff in the Teichacha. The Teichacha will come because you didn't serve Hashem with joy. When I was younger, it didn't bother me so much. As I got older, like, seriously? You're destroying the world? You're causing massive tsar because I didn't serve you happily enough? What's going on here?
Maybe it's better not to serve Hashem if it's not with joy.
No, that's even worse, probably. But no, it doesn't bother you a little bit? You don't serve Hashem, you don't feel a little bit like Hashem. I showed up to Mincha. I get a check for that. Oh, now you want me to show up to Mincha and be happy about it? I'm not ready to do that. No? I think that at least part of the answer, there's different layers of this answer, but I think at least part of the answer is that if you're not serving Hashem happily, you missed something. I'll explain to you what I mean. Imagine that you have a child, okay? And your child is 16 years old. And you waited your whole life to have a child. And you love this child. And Baruch Hashem, you make a nice parnasa, and you give this child anything that he wants in a healthy way. You buy him things and you spend time with him, and you don't use buying him things as a way to not spend time with him. You do both, and you educate him, and you experience things with him, and you really have this kesher with him. Unbelievable. You really have devoted your life to taking care of him. Then one day, you're upstairs in your bedroom, and you hear your child on the phone downstairs, and he's complaining to his friends. And who's he complaining about? He's complaining about you. And he says, my father doesn't care about me, he doesn't notice me, he doesn't give me anything, I'm nobody to him, I'm meaningless to him. How would you feel? Imagine how you would feel? Not just bad, you'd feel pretty angry. And you would feel like a tremendous betrayal, because I am giving you all of these things. How could you be so blind as to not see it? How could you not see that? How could you not notice that? How could you not perceive that? It must be that there's something missing on your end in this relationship. I have this sometimes, and people that I work with sometimes, that I'll find out that, oh, so-and-so, he said that he doesn't like you because you don't, whatever reason. Some of the reasons are good reasons. You know, every time he asks if he can speak to you, he says, I don't have time now. It's a Valentine on me. Okay? No, it's a Valentine. Tried to reach the guy 14 times in the summer, he didn't answer the phone. You know? Could have called. The guy in the shul called me at 6:20. He didn't call. Yeah. Anyway, but it always makes me feel very, 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 very hurt. And I try to get over it. I try to deal with it and not to feel hurt from it. But the reason it feels hurt is not because I think that he's wrong, even if he's right. I feel like, do you see that I'm giving you my neshama? Like, I was telling my wife the other day, I don't have any more time left. I'm done. The 24 hours are covered. I don't have any more strength left. I'm done. So I'm giving you whatever you're getting is the best that I could give. Please appreciate that. I'm sorry if it's not enough. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives to us, it's much more than that, because there is no taina on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly what we need, and He gives us exactly what we need. For us to then serve Hashem like it's such a drag, you know, like it's so difficult, we're missing something, and it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than that. Imagine you go downstairs and you tell your son, I'm so upset at you. Why? Because you said that you don't appreciate what I give you. And your son's a smart aleck, and he says, I don't understand something. You gave it to me so I should say thank you? Of course not. I gave it to you because I love you. Okay, and do I have the things you gave me? I guess. So what's your problem? So I don't appreciate it. What's the problem? Your job is to give to your son. Did you give to your son? Yes. Good. I don't have to appreciate it. good with that? What would you respond to yourself? You'd be like, oh, Taka, good point. Wow, I have such nachas from you. Is that what you would respond? What would you respond? If you could restrain yourself from...
I don't know, it is true, like, you're not giving it so that he looks at it.
Right, it's true. But there's an element that's missing. It reminds me of something I once heard from my Rosh Shiva on Kriya Shema. We say the Haya, and it will be. Im Shamaya Tishma'u, right? Kol mitzvahs Hashem, and so on and so forth. And then Hashem will give you the land of Eretz Yisrael. I'll give you grain and crops and wealth. Hashem says, I'll give you all those things. And if you turn away from Hashem, if you're v'sartem in haderech, if you turn away from Hashem, so then v'chora af Hashem b'chem, Hashem will be upset with you. V'otzar es hashemayim, He will close up the heavens. V'lo yiyeh matar, and there won't be rain. So we have a deal with Hashem, right? If we serve Hashem properly, there will be rain. And if we don't serve Hashem properly, there won't be rain. What happens if someone will turn to Hashem and say, listen, God, I hear the deal, I get it. Happens to be I'm not in the market for rain right now. So you'll understand if I also don't serve you. I mean, that was the deal, right? That if you serve me, I will give you rain, and I don't need rain. When you walk into a store and you want to buy sushi, so if you give me $8, I'll give you sushi. But if you don't want sushi, you don't give him $8. So I have that deal with Hashem. You know? When I imagine, like in this yeshiva, we give a mark for Seder and Shir. Okay, because we're part of a college. So we give a mark. Imagine a guy walks over to his Rebbe and says, I don't mind if I fail. I'm just in school to make my parents happy, so I'm not going to come to Seder. Well, you think Rabbi Mirsky and Rabbi Tenenbaum showed up because it's very important to them that they it's like difficult for them to give an A, and if you don't come, it's like, oh, no problem, we have a good deal. You don't come, I'll give you a D. It's a deal. What's the pshat? What's missing in all of these stories? What's missing is relationship. Yes, you gave your son all those things, but it was your way of showing your love for him. It was your way of showing your connection to him. It was your way of showing how dear he is to you. If he says, I can't stand all of this, my father doesn't care about me, I have no relationship with him, it's very hurtful because he took all the stuff, but he didn't get the message that comes along with the stuff. You tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not in the market for rain right now. Hashem is like, you think I'm running a business and I make money off my rain? I'm trying to encourage you to have a relationship with me. True? And the same thing is true with a Rebbe and a Talmud and Seder. You think the Rebbe is like, ooh, another D. I've been waiting to do a D for a while. No, he wants the kesher. He wants to be able to have the opportunity to teach Torah. He wants to be, it's not. We're not in the market. We're not buying sushi. So that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu feels pain that we didn't serve Hashem with joy. Because of all the things that you got. Where HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm giving you things. You know why I'm giving them to you? Because I want to be close to you. Because I love you. That's why I'm giving to you. For you to say, all right, whatever, I'm not so interested in this whole thing to begin with, that hurts because you're denying the relationship part of it. The kesher. You've made it transactional. Yiddishkeit is not about transactions. It's about building a kesher. They say, I think maybe it was the Kleisenberger Rebbe. I don't remember which Rebbe it was. That he was in the concentration camp, and they gave the terrible work and like slave labor that they had to do. And the worst part of all, the worst slave labor that they could possibly do was when it was futile, when it was meaningless. Part of what they told them to do is they have to carry to the top of a hill or a mountain or something heavy boulders and throw it down the mountain. Can you imagine? Imagine, like, that's not the worst part. because when you're doing something, there's at least a tiny little bit of nechama that you're doing something, you're building something. That's what the Egyptians did. Yes. Okay. Somebody heard him like muttering to himself as he was climbing the mountain with this heavy load on his back, like with these ropes. They listened carefully, and he was saying to himself again and again, just to himself, because you didn't serve Hashem with joy. And he was like teaching up to himself that the musar that he's getting is that he should serve Hashem with simcha. And the Chassidim have a tremendous emphasis on serving Hashem with simcha. But it's something for us to think about. We're so lucky, I want to give you one example of how lucky we are, and then we'll go to Seder, okay? But we're so lucky. On Rosh Hashanah, we're going to stand in front of Hashem. It's a day of judgment, right? We're judged on Rosh Hashanah. Okay? That's overwhelming. You're going to finish davening, you're going to go to davening, you're going to daven Shachris, you're going to have Kriyas HaTorah, then you're going to listen to the shofar, then you're going to daven Musaf and listen to the shofar some more, then you're going to finish Musaf and listen to the shofar some more, and then you're going to go home on this day of judgment, on this very serious day of judgment. Then what are you going to do when you get home? Or finish davening wherever you are. What are you going to do then? Well, you don't eat a Suda on Rosh Hashanah? Well?
Yeah, probably eat a Suda.
You'll eat a Suda. What kind of Suda will it be? Just like a toast and mayonnaise?
Sweet Suda.
No, you're going to start your meal with wine. Happy Judgment Day. You start with wine. And then you're going to have some challah. Maybe some of you will have some raisin challah or cinnamon challah or something. Right? And then, sorry, I'm torturing you. And then you're going to have some, various forms of roast and chicken and turkey on the table with salads, kugels, all kinds of delicacies, right? Happy Judgment Day. Do you think if you were standing in front of, some king somewhere in South America, some tyrant begging for your life, you think you would go home after that and be like, okay, now let's party? Do you think you would do that? Probably not. Probably not. Okay? Also, what are you going to dress in on Rosh Hashanah? The day you might get a sack of a terrible Zardin. You're not going to wear your nice clothing that day, will you? Oh yeah, you are. You're going to dress like you're going to a wedding. That's a pretty funny way to dress when you're being judged for life and death.
Why? You go to a court case, you wear also a suit and tie.
Okay, you dress respectable. Yom Tov is a time to dress more festive. Yeah. Well,
I hear that.
So, you don't understand what I mean? Ask your mother. Okay? She'll explain to you the difference between serious and festive. It's a pretty funny thing, this Rosh Hashanah business. You know what the pshat is? That we know that even though Hashem is judging us, we know that He loves us, and we know that He told us how to get a good judgment. And He told us how to place ourselves in a way that whatever the psak will be the best thing possible for us. And what we have to do is we have to daven and listen to the shofar. And when we do that, we go home. The lashon of the poskim is Bituchim sheyaseh lahem nes. We're batuach. We're 100% sure that Hashem paskin the toiv. So when you're eating your meal on Rosh Hashanah, the reason you can get that roast down, okay, depending on who made the roast, it could be enjoyable to get down. But the reason you can get it down is because you're not worried anymore. Because you know you did yours, and you know the judge happens to be your father who loves you. You can't have a better religion than that. Okay, that's the most serious day of the year. Okay? Almost every yeshiva, many shuls, Yom Kippur, you're fasting the whole day. Terrifying, right? And then Matzah Yom Kippur, we burst into song after Ne'ilah. 4 days later, we start the happiest Yontif of the year, day after day after day for 9 days straight. Because we just were on trial for our lives. And we know HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. So enjoy this relationship with a Hashem who loves you. B'simcha u'b'tov leivav me'roiv kol, to serve Hashem with simcha. Yashikayach.